certainly most of the people here, and there are a lot of young people that have taken time off school, and a lot of people have taken the day off work to come down here, and it is really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. There'll be nothing like this again for some time. So here we go, she's having a shower now.
And I think at that point we are unfortunately going to have to leave you, Courtney Bembridge, in Perth, but it certainly sounds amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thousands of people have packed the city to watch the giant spectacular unfold. Crowds have lined the streets to see the little girl giant make her way from Langley Park to Wellington Square, prompting rolling street closures. So far, she's showered, changed clothes, travelled in a boat, walked, had an icy pole and read a book. She's now having a rest before starting again at 4:30 when she'll head along Murray and Hay Streets.
Any which way you look at it, there's a giant attraction at this year's Perth International Arts Festival, and the monster marionettes have come all the way from France. Rebecca O'Donovan explains.
Good afternoon, Mel. Well, what an amazing spectacle this has been so far. Just behind me, the little girl giant has just arrived here in Wellington Square, where she's about to read a storybook to 4,000 lucky local school students. Her journey began at 9:30 this morning at Langley Park, where thousands watched as she opened her eyes for the first time and stood up before having a shower, getting dressed and then jumping on her boat. She then made her way through the streets of Perth, and of course, like every other little girl, she even had to stop for a quick wee. And there is also another giant who's double her size, the Diver. He made a surprise appearance sleeping outside the Perth train station this morning, creating quite a stir for commuters this morning. This event runs right through this weekend, and it's the biggest event of its kind Perth has ever seen.
Well, it's been a day like Perth has never seen, with giants among us right here in the heart of the city. Thousands of people have lined our streets. More are still coming in now to follow the journey of a giant 6-metre tall girl. Now, Jerry Damasi is joining the crowds this afternoon. Jerry, she's had a midday nap, but she's on the move again.
She's on the move, if you can see her here behind me. She's just walking up Hill Street again after waking up from Wellington Park. There's thousands of people here in the city that have all gathered to see her, and there's been mixed reactions. You wouldn't be seeing those cheers and applause that you've been expecting. Most people are just staring at her with their mouths open. She's really quite mesmerising and magical, and there's even been a few tears from some little kids who are a little bit frightened, but she's certainly impressive. She's making her way up here behind me, and she's had quite a morning, as you said, Libby. Let's have a look at what the little girl giant has been up to today.
A sleeping giant wakes. She washes her hair and puts on a dress before boarding a boat to begin the search for her lost diver. Thousands turned out to witness the larger-than-life spectacle. The biggest street art festival ever seen in WA, vantage points around the city filling up early.
How long have you guys been excited for this?
Ages. Weeks, probably. Yeah, she looks really cool.
It's amazing. I mean, we've been really excited for a long time, waiting for them to arrive.
A big surprise for commuters too, outside Perth's train station. The giant diver's sleeping, but still drawing a crowd, ahead of his first excursion tomorrow.
I didn't expect this. We're heading down to see the girl in a minute, and this is just an added bonus.
Oh, it's pretty impressive, really, the size, the scale of him.
The girl's boat motored down Terrace Road, massive crowds lining the streets. She continued the search on foot, walking past the bell tower and into the CBD before a quick toilet break. Behind the scenes, bringing the giants to life is a gruelling task. Teams of 70 people are needed to move each giant, plus an extra 300 volunteers to help them navigate the city.
It's just unbelievable. It's something once in a lifetime, isn't it?
Quite remarkable, yes. No wonder it's cost millions. I'm not surprised at all. But it'll be worth it, I think, over the next 3 days.
Rolling road closures will be in place throughout the weekend. More than 1,600 buses will be affected.
There's serious disruptions, major. We've never had anything like the level of disruptions to our bus services.
The Public Transport Authority is asking people to plan ahead.
We're increasing the number of trains, but also increasing the size of the trains we operate.
3 hours into her journey, the girl giant tires, stopping to read a book from the children of Perth before drifting off for a nap in Wellington Square. Nathan Brooks, 9 News.
So there you have it. The Little Girl Giants had quite a day, and it's only the first day of the Giants' journey for the Perth International Arts Festival. It'll be going right across the weekend. Here she is. She's coming up behind me. She's going to turn onto Hay Street after she makes it off hill here, loop all the way around Barrack onto Murray, back down Hay Street, but then towards the river. She's going to finish up at Langley Park. That'll be at 7 o'clock. So if you want to head down, you can go there now. There's still plenty to see. You won't miss the end of her journey, and we're going to bring you all of the little girl's adventures for the rest of the day, carrying on through the rest of the weekend. But join us tonight on 9 at 6 o'clock if you want to see exactly how this little girl's day's journey finishes up. Very exciting.
Thank you, Jerry. Enjoy the spectacle.
Good evening. First tonight, Perth is in the grip of giant mania. Tens of thousands watching in wonder as the Perth International Art Festival's most anticipated event sent the city into shutdown. Alicia Banner joined the little girl giant on the beginning of her enchanting journey.
In the heart of the city, the little giant girl sleeps, exhausted after travelling from afar. A large crowd gathers, eagerly waiting for her to open her eyes.
We can't wait for her to get up and start doing things. So exciting.
And we've been really excited for a long time, waiting for them to arrive, and they're here, and I just think Perth is so lucky.
The moment finally arrives, the little girl slowly taking in her surroundings of the Swan River and the city skyline. She gets up, showers, and gets dressed.
It was really, really good. Yeah. I liked how she got dressed and all the different things. Yeah.
Before being lifted into a boat, ready for her quest through the streets.
She's so beautiful. She looked real when she was sleeping, and then when she stood up, it was like chills.
She takes a stroll down Riverside Drive, enjoying the company of thousands.
What an experience to walk with the little girl on her way to find her diver. You can't help but believe these giants are very much real, and they're living right here in our city.
As she continues, the number of companions grows, lining Barrack Street and Hay Street, up high and down below.
Oh, it's just unbelievable. It's something once in a lifetime, isn't it?
Oh, quite remarkable. Yes, no wonder it's cost millions.
After a quick toilet stop, she continues on her way, finally coming to rest at Wellington Square. She reads a book with the local children about the Anzacs, then realises why she's come to this southern land, to find the diver, a giant just like her, who's been roaming the world since 1915. Little does she know, he's asleep at the train station only streets away. Over the coming days, the little girl will continue her search, and the people of Perth will join her.
Yeah, it's been an excellent display, which I suppose is great for Perth to see a bit more happening, a bit more tourism.
Excellent opportunity, so too good to pass, really. Too good to miss out on.
Alicia Banner, 10 Eyewitness News.
And with thousands of excited punters continuing to swarm into Perth over the weekend, getting in and out of the city will be challenging. Cindy Lavrenchik is right there, and Cindy, the little giant girl, is awake again.
Yes, Narelda, the little girl giant has just woken up from her nap, and she's heading down Murray Street as we speak. She's travelling on a car right now where she'll stop and jump on a scooter that's seen on the side of the road. Now, massive crowds here, obviously, once again, to follow her on her quest to find the diver giant. Now, while it's clear the giants have clearly taken over the city, they've also taken over our transport. Midday at Perth train station. It's packed as people flood the city to catch the giants.
Obviously they needed to provide for peak hour traffic at the time when people are going after the event.
But feedback about morning travel to the event was positive, despite overlapping with peak hour.
And there was plenty of room on it, so I was quite happy.
We expected it to be really, really busy, which is why, because I like meeting people, and I was so disappointed because it was not busy enough.
Public transport is great when it works. Much
much better than when you're going home from the football, let me tell you.
With 1 million people expected to turn out to see the Giants this weekend, commuters are being urged to plan ahead. There will be rolling street closures as the Giants make their journey through the city. Tomorrow morning, streets around Langley Park through the city and ending at World Square in Northbridge will be affected. For the evening show, closures will affect Northbridge and city streets before the Giants return to Langley Park. On Sunday, the show will circle the park for the finale. The closures will affect thousands of parking bays in the city as well as bus services.
With 130, 140 bus stops affected, it means over the 3 days that there's 1,600 bus services are going to be disrupted, severely disrupted.
Transperth maintains the best way to beat the traffic is to catch the train, with extra services running and added rail cars. Now, people heading down over the weekend are being urged to be patient and expect some delays. But obviously, we've got the little girl Giant coming down right now. As I said, she's on a car and she will be getting on that scooter, travelling back to Langley Park and call it a night at 7:30. Unfortunately, we didn't see the diver Giant today, but he will be up tomorrow and we'll see him then. Nerota.
Good evening. Welcome to 7 News. On a day our city was brought to a standstill in the name of art. Tens of thousands of people have lined Perth's streets for a glimpse of the Giants. As we go to air, one of the Giants is making her way through the CBD. Rob Scott is on Hay Street. Rob, Perth's never seen anything like it.
You're not wrong, Rick. Simply put, this has captivated Perth. And the crowds that have followed every giant step that the little girl has taken through the streets of Perth have been mesmerised. All up, predictions are around 1 million people will come to see the little girl Giant and her uncle, the diver Giant, over the next 3 days, easily making it Perth's biggest public event. At the moment, the girl is making her way down Hay Street as she heads towards Langley Park, which is where she'll spend the night. And as you can see from these live pictures, the crowds following her are just massive, and they've been growing all day.
A giant yawn from a big, sleepy girl. Thousands scrambled to Langley Park this morning to watch her come to life. Like any little girl, she needed a shower to wake up. And then it was into some fresh clothes and shoes before she began her journey through the streets of Perth to find her uncle, the diver. He was across town at Perth train station, fast asleep. A giant surprise for early morning commuters as they left the platform.
It's fascinating, isn't it? And this is a surprise because we didn't know he would be here.
I think it's really great. It's great to see Perth coming and having such an amazing international experience.
The 3-ton marionette, so lifelike you could hear him breathe. It was too good a photo op to pass up. Sergeant Wayne Godwin wins the prize for most original. With his size 237 boots and his 100-kilo trousers, he'll stay resting where he is until tomorrow morning. Today was all about his niece, and she had Perth under her spell.
The expressions they get in her face. Cried. It's so cool. Love her. Yeah, we come all the way from Bunbury to see it. So.
Yeah, from Bunbury.
Yeah.
Bunbury, yeah. Did it live up to expectations?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was brilliant.
The streets were packed as thousands followed her every giant step. Balconies were overflowing, office windows crowded. Even workers on building sites downed tools for a moment.
Most people only ever see this once in their life if they're lucky, and so pleased that it was able to come to Perth.
The girl's movements are so real, from her eyes to her tongue. Everything is controlled with cranes, pulleys and hydraulics, and of course, some exquisite timing. And like most little girls, after a big adventure, she needed a bathroom break.
At 5.5 metres tall and weighing in at 800 kilos, walking with this little girl Giant really is something very special. The Premier described it as a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and boy, was he right.
Her hair alone is made from the tails of 70 horses. Her green dress weighs 30 kilos. By lunchtime, she'd made it to Wellington Square, where she was presented with a giant book created especially for her by WA school children. 4,000 of them were then treated to a story like never before.
Then the little star said goodbye to me.
After a mid-afternoon siesta in a comfy deck chair, she was on the move again, still searching for her uncle.
So after a nice rest, the little girl's journey continues, and as you can see behind me, she's now walking down Hay Street as she makes her way towards Langley Park, which is where she'll spend the night. It's been a big day for the little girl walking through the streets of Perth, and as you can see behind me, it's just attracting thousands and thousands of people. It's hard to put a number really on the crowds that are here, but easily tens of thousands have filled the streets. She stopped a little while ago to pick up some very lucky children. They used ladders to climb up onto her giant arms and swung off them for quite a while. She was kneeling on the road while that happened. Really magical experience for a lot of children. This truly has been just a fantastic event for Perth. It cost $5.4 million to get both these giants here, but really it has been priceless. It cost a lot to put on, but if you want to come down and witness this for yourself, it's absolutely free.
Thanks, Rob. And live to Kate Smithers at Langley Park now. And Kate, what's the advice for people planning to head into the city later this evening?
So the little girl is currently making her way down here to Langley Park, where she will sleep off her very big day. That's happening around 7 o'clock, so there's still a bit of time to come down and check her out if you want to. The best way to do that is on a train because of road closures and disruptions to the bus timetables. And even though she'll be asleep, you'll still be able to see and hear the little girl breathing. Tomorrow there's even a bigger day planned. That sleeping giant that's been having a slumber outside the Perth train station will finally wake up, and then the two giants will walk through the city in search of each other before tomorrow night, when they will be reunited here at Langley Park. Then on Sunday, together, those two giants will walk through the CBD for a grand finale on the Swan River. So, Rick, if you missed out today, there's still plenty to see across the weekend.
Thanks, Kate. Looks good. To the 7 helicopter now. Jeff Parry, how's traffic coping heading out of the city?
Well, let me say, Rick, amazing scenes from up here. I've actually been to a few festivals around the world in my travels. I've never seen anything quite like this. Let me show you what I can see from the 7 News chopper. There you go. There's the little girl still on Hay Street heading back to Langley Park. Big crowds around her. Traffic, Rick, is fantastic. If I can describe it like that, it's moving very smoothly. The freeways are looking good into the city and out. The Narrows Bridge is very clear. Windan Bridge, the tunnel, everything's moving, and in the city everything's moving very smoothly. They've got those road closures, which are rolling road closures around Barrack Street, Murray Street, and Irwin Street. They'll be lifted if some of them haven't been lifted. All we've got to worry about now is Hay Street back to Hill Street and get it down to Langley Park. The Fremantle, the PTA tells me that they won't get figures till Monday, but patronage on trains has been quite heavy, very heavy, also on buses, but they're recommending trains are the way to get out of the city tonight. There you are. She's still moving down towards Langley Park, and there's a big crowd waiting for her down there, Sue.
Good evening. Perth's in the grip of giant fever tonight. We've seen thousands of people pack the CBD to get a glimpse of the little girl giant as she made her way through the city's heart. This is the view captured from the 9 News helicopter. Libby Stone is in the city tonight in prime position on Hay Street. Lib, good evening to you. The little girl giant has just passed through.
Yeah, that's right, Tim. She's still not too far away from us, just 100 metres or so away, and at 6 metres tall. She really has been hard to miss today. Thousands and thousands of people have turned out to see the little girl's journey across the day. She is still here on Hay Street, but she's on the move again and making her way back to Langley Park for this evening. Take a look. This shot is coming in live from our camera on the ground at the moment, and as you can see, there's certainly no shortage of people out here tonight to see it for themselves.
It's a day Perth will never forget, the day giants started roaming our streets. Through the moors, past the bell tower, never before has the city seen anything like this. As thousands gathered at Langley Park, the little girl was sleeping in. Her chest rose with every breath. The puppet and her masters had a mammoth journey ahead.
We can't wait for her to get up and start doing things. So exciting.
At 9:30, the puppet started to stir. Eyes open, her march through Perth was about to begin. But even giants need to shower. The pale pink nightie had to go. You can't wear that for a performance like this. The costume changed later. The 6-metre marionette was lifted onto her boat to search for a giant diver somewhere in the city. The trip was wet, but crowds followed as she sailed from Langley Park. Boats came in close from the river to get a look. Workers downed tools to watch the extraordinary adventure.
She's so beautiful. She looked real when she was sleeping, and then when she stood up, it was like chills. Just magnificent.
On Riverside Drive, the giant rose, dwarfing those who came to watch. From the ground, their phones were pointed up. Some had a unique vantage of looking down.
It's been absolutely wonderful, and you can sort of see the efforts they've gone into making all those little effects happen.
The little girl made a 4-door hatchback look like a toy car. It helped move the puppet up Barrack Street. From afar, it looked like the crowds were carrying her. There was further commotion in the CBD where school kids lined the streets for an excursion like no other. There was little space on the footpaths, rooftops were packed. Perth CBD had become a stage.
It's just unbelievable. It's something once in a lifetime, isn't it?
Midway through the walk, something unexpected. The skirt was lifted, the girl squatted down, and well, when a puppet's got to go, a puppet's got to go. There was another spectacle across town in front of the Horseshoe Bridge. An 11-metre diver was lying down. His feet were as big as the onlookers, who all came armed with cameras.
I didn't expect this. We're heading down to see the girl in a minute, and this is just an added bonus.
It's the size, it's the noise, and it's the story that's gone with it. That's what's made it so special.
The diver will stay there until tomorrow.
It's fantastic. It's great for Perth, and something I didn't think I'd ever see.
By midday, the little girl's 3-hour parade was coming to an end. The puppet was brought into Wellington Square. A deck chair was waiting.
The eyelashes, they look really real.
Was she looking at you?
Yeah, it was so creepy.
There was so much detail put into it, into the girl. It's like, wow.
As the giant sat down, a group of kids climbed up. Then a giant book, a story by the school children of Perth that they'll be telling for decades to come.
For the kids from all the schools to have the opportunity to share in that is just amazing.
In the afternoon, she woke again and thousands of people moved with her as she headed back to Langley Park. This was just the first taste of what has been billed as Perth's biggest art display. Organisers say crowds will get bigger over the weekend. They expect by Sunday, 1 million people would have seen this gigantic spectacle. Josh Yerger, 9 News.
Well, there's an extraordinary operation behind this event, and it's not just the operation of these massive puppets, but it's the coordination of traffic, even to the point of moving street lights to make way for them.
For the girl giant exploring the city's streets, a magical but tiring first day in Perth. Even more tiring, though, for those behind the scenes, helping bring the giants to life. A team of 70 people required to help each of the giants move around the city at any one time. Specialist puppeteers who also handle the crane, electrical systems and hydraulics. Covering 14 kilometres in 3 days, it's a gruelling task. The diver stands at 11 metres tall and weighs a staggering 3 tonnes. The girl is 6 metres tall, she weighs a mere tonne. Dressed in red velvet coats, the operators tug on ropes and pulleys, giving the giant's legs the ability to power through the streets. A team of physiotherapists on standby to keep the operators in fighting form. The event cost over $5 million to bring to Perth, a logistical monster that needed months of preparation. Dozens of volunteers have been recruited to walk with the crowds and keep both them and the giants safe.
I'm actually not working at the moment, so I just wanted something to do and I thought this would be fabulous.
Here in the main road's control room, it's an operation unlike anything they've seen before. As one road opens, another closes to make way for the performers.
We've got a normal work day in the CBD, and then we've added into that hundreds of thousands more people coming in to see this event. So it was always going to be very difficult.
Today it went off without a hitch. Tomorrow the risks double. Two giants walking on two different routes. Public transport has been hit hard. 140 services disrupted, affecting 1,600 buses.
Given that we also don't know absolute definite times, so we've got to be a bit flexible in when we do it. So it really has been a massive effort of logistics and will continue to be right through the weekend.
Tegan Sapwell, 9 News.
And the little girl's making her way up Hay Street right now. Jerry Damasi is there. Jerry, a rock star reception, especially from the kids.
Absolutely. There she is right now here behind me. She's just stopped. We're not quite sure why, but she's stopped still now and everyone's moved in to see her. There's tens of thousands of people in the city. They've lined the streets all the way down to Langley Park to welcome her. And just a little moment ago, have a look at this. Some kids were actually, some very lucky kids, were lifted up onto the little girl's arms and she actually swung them back and forward for a little bit. So some very, very lucky little ones there got to get right up and personal with the little girl giant. And I'll tell you what, Tim, it's just quite an incredible energy here. You'd think people would be cheering and clapping along, but they're actually not. Everyone's just in awe, really staring up at the giant with their mouths wide open. I can hear lots of little kids around me saying, "Mummy, she's looking at me," because she really looks at you and blinks. It's just a little bit creepy, but it is fantastic. It's larger than life. And we're right here as it's all unfolding. We'll cross back in a little while. I'll let you know exactly what it is that she is stopping to do, but we're going to be right at Langley Park when she arrives as well. What a magical start to the Perth International Arts Festival.
It sure is. Thank you, Jerry. And the little girl's Friday journey ends later tonight. Estelle Lewis is at her Friday resting place in Langley Park. Estelle, a huge crowd is already there and waiting.
That's right, Tim. Thousands of people will be here to greet the little girl giant when she arrives back here at Langley Park, and hundreds have already gathered to secure a prime viewing spot. Now, the little girl this is where she'll sleep tonight, in an area cordoned off by the show's organisers. Some of the people here have been following her journey since she woke up here this morning. Others are about to catch their first glimpse of the marionette that's wowed Perth, and we'll say a giant good night later in the bulletin. Tim.
Perth is a city of giants tonight, or at least one giant, and she's certainly fascinating thousands of people. Libby Stone, there's no shortage of spectators as the little girl giant's journey through the CBD draws to a close for the day.
Yeah, absolutely, Tim. Right now she's captivating crowds in the city, but she's made a very quick journey tonight. In fact, she's already at Langley Park on the riverfront, where she'll spend the night before she wakes tomorrow morning and continues her journey through the city. Later in the bulletin, we'll give you a rundown on the best places to catch the giants tomorrow. But it's not just on our city streets that are buzzing with excitement. The little giant girl is already causing a rush on social media today. Facebook and Twitter have been swamped with pictures and, of course, selfies on the first day of this big spectacular.
A sea of mobile phones capturing the moment when a 6-foot puppet comes to life. A quick post to social media and the Perth giants were trending online. Everyone who followed the giant girl through the streets of Perth either filmed or snapped what was happening as they went. No matter where they were, some had better views than others. When the giant stopped and rested in Wellington Square around midday, the event had been tweeted 2,065 times by 822 users, the views nearly topping 11 million people. The hashtag Perth Giants trended #1 in Australia for 3 hours today and is still in the top spot in Perth. This unladylike stunt even made it to the top story on BuzzFeed, one of the world's biggest social news sites. Kids were showing their parents how it's done, and even the boys in blue had a bit of fun. But it didn't stop there. Instagram and Facebook were flooded with pictures and videos of the multi-million-dollar street performance. A big favourite, the giant selfie. The event so popular, more than 900,000 people saw, shared or added posts about the giants just on the 9 News Facebook page alone. To share your videos and pictures with us, head to our 9 News Perth Facebook, Instagram or Twitter pages. Jess Kiley, 9 News.
And those tweets and Facebook pics are still flooding in as massive crowds line the streets tonight throughout the city. Jerry Damasi is following the giants' every move. Jerry, you are certainly in the thick of it down there.
little girl giant has just arrived here at Langley Park. There are people as far as the eye can see. It's incredible how many tens of thousands of Perth people, young and old, have turned up just to see this little puppet. Well, she's not little at all, she's giant, and that's what's really mesmerising people. I'm looking around at everyone's faces. They're just staring up at her in awe with their mouths open, not really saying a word. It's quite a magical show here and a wonderful start to the Perth International Arts Festival. This is the end of the little girl's journey for today. I believe she's still going to curl up in bed. I don't know if you can see that bed just over my shoulder, but that's where she's going to rest this evening. But my goodness, what an incredible day. People lining the streets, just awe-inspiring, Tim. It's been great being right in the thick of it. You have to come down tomorrow. You won't regret it.
I will do my best. Me and about 500,000 other people, I reckon. Thank you very much, Jerry. And Libby Stone, perfect conditions in Perth tonight for the Giants Walk.